everyone, and welcome to September block of the month. We are on the final block for this year, so this will finish up our block for the 2019-2020 season. This month's block will look like this if you are doing the black and white block. And if you are doing the Christmas block, it will look like what we're going to make here this evening. And next year's colors, if you're going to sign up for next year, we will be doing a teal and coral color. So our teal and coral colors will be these colors. And then you'll provide your background. And then we'll also be doing a patriotic. So we'll have a patriotic print that I will supplement with a blue or a red each month, and then you'll provide your background color. You will want to call and sign up for your spot for that sometime this month. This will be our last video, unfortunately. They do want us all back in class next month, but we will be holding 3 sessions so that we can all keep our distance. So there will be 2 classes on Friday evening, and those will be at 5:30 to 6:30, and then 7 to 8 on the first Friday of the month, and then Saturday morning from 8 to 9. And if we need to add an additional session on Saturday, we can do so to make sure that the classes don't get too full. So I've already pre-cut all of our material for tonight so that we can just get to the block making for the evening. We do have a new tool this month. It is the block lock triangle in a square. When you pick up your tool, it does come with 3 separate pieces. It comes with the triangle piece that we will use first, then the side piece that fits together with your triangle, like so here on the board that you can kind of see here, and then the trimming tool that you use last to trim everything down. So when you first open up your kit for the Christmas, for the black and white, your black will be your black with the white will be your A, and then your B will be your white with the black. You'll want to take your black with your white or your green piece and cut it in half. And then you will take that half piece and fold it in half. Now my piece looks a little funny because I've already cut it down. When you cut that down from your 6 inches, you will cut it down to the half piece, so the 22-inch half piece. Cut it down to 5 1/8. That will fit your triangle exactly here. And you will go ahead and cut that down. And then once you cut that down, you can go ahead and trim one side of your triangle like this. I do have it double folded over here so that it will cut 2 of my triangles at the same time. You're going to need 4 of these, so you will cut 4 out of your green, and then the other side of your width of fabric of your green will be made to cut 2.5-inch strips. Now when you cut this ruler, use this triangle, you're going to notice that it has these flat sides right here, and you want to actually take those flat sides and cut that little nub of fabric off. They'll be useful to you later in the sewing process of these triangles when you put them inside your square. So when you cut that off and you get that nice and straight right there, you end up with your triangles that look like that. Then you will take your background fabric, which in my case is white, and in the case of the Christmas is red. And you're going to cut down that 6 and by 22 inches, trim it up, and cut it down to 5 1/8. And then you will take and cut off the sides using the other piece here. And you want to fold this over because you want to end up with 2 pairs here. And you want to have opposite points. So make sure you do that. And then with the leftover, you'll cut a 2 1/2 inch strip for these. So go ahead, cut the side of that just to trim it up, and then go down that angle like that, and that will give you opposite points. And then with your leftover fabric from this, you can cut a 2 1/2 inch strip, which you will need to sew. But you'll need 2 pairs of those. So to get your 2 pairs, you will just flip your ruler over. I've already cut my other pair, so I'm not going to do that. And cut this off. And then with your leftover fabric, you can take this and cut yourself a 2 1/2 inch strip. So you would just take your leftover fabric, measure up your 2 1/2 inch wide strip, and trim yourself a 2 1/2 inch wide strip with that. And I've cut those as well. And you'll do the same thing with your red. So using your red background fabric, I'm going to do that with my red as well. And just going to take that, line that up, and cut right down the edge of this. Making sure I get a good smooth cut. That blade's not very sharp. Let me grab my other cutter. There we go. And then you can take this and cut down this angle. And then you can take this, now that you've got that angle there, and cut again twice. You'll need 2 pairs of this. And it's very important that you fold that fabric over because you want to have opposite points. You want to make sure that these points turn opposite of each other so they'll fit in your triangle. You want these points to be opposite. And then take this and cut yourself 2 1/2 inch. Take your leftover fabric and cut this into 2 2 1/2 inch strips. And now that you've done that, you've got all your cutting done. And you will take your triangle first, and we are going to take a red and a white with our triangle, and we want to take the side that lines up to our triangle, and we want to put our red on this side and our white on this side. So we need a white on this side. Now you want to put these here, and when you line this up, you want to line the nub up to the bottom of this. So you're going to line up your fabric so that the bottom of your red fabric lines up to the bottom of your green fabric. So the points will actually line up and you'll have your overhang at the top, not the bottom of your fabric. And then we'll take this over and we're going to sew this at 1/4 of an inch. Go ahead and sew along there. Remember, these are stretchy, so you don't want to pull on this. Let that sew through the bottom there. Lift that up. Oh, lost my triangle. And then I'm going to go ahead and press this, and I'm going to press it so that it presses this way, so that my seam is laying this way. So pressing towards the red. So I'm going to pull this over so you can see how I did that pressing. So I'll press that and just press that. And you do want to press that each time before you sew on your next piece. And then again, line up the bottom here with the bottom of your fabric, and then take it to your sewing machine and sew it at 1/4 inch. And then go ahead, press this, and then press this fabric to lay open, like this. And once you get that pressed there, you will go ahead and take your trimming tool to trim this down to 4 inches, and you're going to trim this up so that you can trim around all 4 sides of the triangle and a square. There we go. Go ahead and just trim that all off there. And then you will end up with your pieces that you need to have here. Okay, so now we have our 4 triangle and a squares sewn and trimmed down, and now you will have your 2.5-inch strips. You need to have cut 2 2.5-inch strips from your A fabric, which will be your green fabric for your Christmas, or your black with your white fabric with your black and whites. And then you will sew them, and it's going to require you to sew them to your B fabric. So you're going to have to sew an A to a B and a to your C, which is your background, and then you're going to need to sew a B to a C. And from these, once you get them sewn together like this, you will cut 4 2.5-inch strips 4 times. So you're going to subcut these into 2.5-inch strips, and you will need 4 of them. I'm only going to cut 2 because I've already subcut all of this for you so that we could lay out the block for you. Okay, and then once you get those subcut, you will go ahead, put them together so you have opposite colors, and sew them at 1/4 inch. Go ahead and nest those seams together. So you'll want to nest those seams together and sew them at 1/4 inch. And go ahead, set your seam and iron that out. So I've set that seam and I've went ahead and ironed that apart. So I now have that. And now we'll lay out the block so that we can see how this goes together. So your center block will be your B and C that you've sewn together, and then around that center block you will put each of those arrows, that each of those triangles in a square kind of look like an arrow, and then you will put your whites matching up here, which is my background fabric here, and then I'm going to put my reds matching here so that they make the line there, and then you'll sew this to this to this, this to this to this, this to this to this, and then sew them together. And that will finish your block so that you have a finished block for this. I will email these out to you along with the pattern to how to finish putting together your blocks. We will be having a Finishing It Up class on October 24th. If you'd like to sign up to come and take that class, it is a class that you bring your machine to. I will be there to help those of you who would like to come to have help putting your quilt together. But that pattern will be coming in the mail with the video, in the email with the video. If you have any questions, feel free to email me this month. It's been a great year, and I've enjoyed teaching all of you this year, and I hope to see you next year for next year's class. It is just $5 to sign up for the class, and I hope to see you all back in class next year. Have a great year.